Welcome back, everyone, to Lords of G-Town. I am, as ever, your storyteller. And tonight we begin a tale called To Sup Upon the City. It has been just over a week since you resolved the situation with Carl Cryer and Walter Bergman. The city hasn't quite yet had a chance to return to normal. Nadine's pretty much ghosted you. You did pretty much leave her out to hang out to dry, after all, and her sire, Gabriel, finds himself on uneven footing within the Camarilla as Prince Aveline finds her distrust in her primogen justified. He did, after all, allow a very useful, potentially dangerous ghoul, Carl Cryer, to fall into the hands of the Tremere. Your coterie, of course, was the main reason why this happened, but Prince Aveline understands that Sam's coterie only does what it feels is necessary. No, this is a problem for the Malkavian Primogen and his child, and it's them who must redeem themselves. It's early April 2021. The humid summer nights are a thing of the past. Temperatures are starting to drop as a cold front rolls in from Cowie's Bay. Autumn settles in full force, and the streets of G-Town are papered by yellow, orange, and deep red as the trees shed their clothing. Easter is just around the corner. And as we all awaken this night, I'd like everyone to go ahead and make a rouse check for me.
Critical one. No, just one.
Just one.
Oh.
So Val's getting hungrier at hunger 2.
No, she's not getting hungrier. She succeeded.
She succeeded, yep.
Yeah, I don't get
With a
hungry.
critical one.
Ah, yes, I thought you meant you had rolled 1 on the dice. I was like,
No.
Got a success from Tig.
Tig
Mitch succeeded.
and Bouncer.
That's a fail.
Only one gets hungrier.
Bouncer,
That's
you're
not
going
good.
up to
That's a 4
hunger
as well.
4, I believe.
Yeah.
You accrued some hunger during downtime. Bouncer, how many beds have you gone through in the last few months? Because it's time to buy another one, as your eyes flutter open and you spring bolt upright, and within you the beast roars, "No! Feed me! No!" And you realise that you're sitting on the bare floorboards of your apartment. The bed frame, little more than splintered pieces of wood around you. The bed covers torn to shreds, as if somebody let a rabid dog in the room that ripped it apart. Your pale skin is damp, sweating droplets, beads of blood running down your forehead, down your cheeks, and your clothes are soggy, hanging limply off the frame of your body, drenched in blood. If anyone were to walk in and see you now, they would be gazing upon a true monster, your eyes bloodshot, savage, your mouth open, your fangs bared, spittle and blood frothing around your lips. Find someone, find a pig. A pig, a man, a woman, it doesn't matter. Rip them to shreds, dash their heads upon the stone. Take what you need, take what you desire. But we will get to you in a moment, Bouncer. For we start tonight's story in the busy offices of the G-Town Advertiser, Val's regular haunt. In the bustling newspaper office, the air is alive with an electric energy, punctuated by the constant clattering of typewriters, computers, and the ringing of telephones. The room is a whirlwind of organised chaos as reporters rush about, clutching notepads and scribbling furiously, while sub-editors pace anxiously, deep in thought, mentally arranging the layout of the pages as the journalists work on them. The walls are adorned with faded photographs and framed headlines, telling tales of past triumphs and breaking news that shaped the city. Val, you've just finished checking in with Jeanette. You promised her first thing tonight you'd check in and debrief her on the whole Nadine situation. She's disappointed that Mitch was able to coax the coterie into acting against you, and she commiserates that although you command the attention of everyone at Elysium in court, sometimes it's those closest to you that can be hardest to control. Still, darling, she says, drama in the court, Gabriel on thin ice. Prince might decide he's not worthy of being a primogen at any moment, and oh dear, sounds like there's going to be a lot of resentment boiling under the surface that we just might be able to do something with.
Well, what did you have in mind?
Nothing as of yet, my dear, says Jeanette, the corners of her lip twisting into a sinister smirk. We'll simply stop and watch and see what happens for a bit, but it is nice to know that if the Malkavian clan can do anything for us, we have the perfect hook. After all, a single word from my lips or yours, and what little is left of Gabriel and Nadine's tattered reputation could be cast to the wind. If I were Gabriel, I would certainly want to be keeping myself in the Harpy's good books, would you not be?
See, if I was Primogen, I'd be doing a lot of things differently. But yes, I can't disagree with their logic.
Jeanette just smiles and she says, "Oh, while you were not able to convince your coterie to do the right thing, I think we can work with this. After all, we wouldn't be very good harpies if we didn't know how to adapt, pivot, and use our failures to our advantage." She shoos you away. "Be off. Check in with the other reporters. Jace wanted to say something to you. I think he's found a story and wanted to gloat. Still thinks you're in university."
So I swear, that boy is still 16.
You step out of Jeanette's office and back into the busy newsroom chaos, and you don't have to wait long. You barely taken a step into the newsroom when Jace loudly calls your name, signaling you to come and join him at his desk on the other side of the bustling chaos. Val, please go ahead and describe your touchstone, Jace, and tell us a little bit about your relationship to him.
Oh, Jace is the spitting image of a... You know the kind of reporter that just, you feel kind of gross talking to them? Like you probably shouldn't be, but you are, and you have this terrible feeling that they're going to do something terrible with what you say.
You know
That's
that
him.
every word you say is on the record and is probably going to be used against you, printed on the front page.
Especially the things you say that are off the record. They're definitely not off the record.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jace is, he looks to be about early 20s, about 23 maybe. He has dusty hair, always wears a very nice suit, but it doesn't fit him very well. His shoes are always dirty. They're nice shoes, but they're always dirty. And he has this look about him. Just when you meet his gaze, you know that he's sinking his venom into you already.
And of course, Val, you've been here at the Advertiser for quite a long time. In fact, you've been kindred pretty much as long as he's been alive. But when he arrived here at the Advertiser, for some reason he set his sights on you and decided that you were his rival, just as if you were two university students still doing your journalism degrees, racing each other to the scoop, and he's not let up since. And so you sigh inwardly as you approach him and see that telltale eager smile on his face. Val, guess who got a scoop again, he says, and left you out in the rain, as usual.
Oh, as usual.
Surprised you didn't pick up on this yourself, he says. But then again, everyone knows you don't really have the connections that I do you?
Val's gonna rack her brain for what he could possibly mean.
So, Jace always talks about his quote-unquote connections. And you know that he comes from a fairly privileged family. And the reason he was able to get a job here at the Advertiser straight out of uni is because, so they say, his uncle or his great uncle or someone like that is related to someone who holds quite a lot of sway in the paper. You've quizzed Jeanette about it, and she has never divulged anything. But Jace always likes to make people aware that he is connected. And even aside from the fact that he seemingly comes from money, he has a way with people. He has a way of exploiting people, getting them to tell him exactly what he wants, getting them to owe him favors, and due to this, he is able to get stories from very unlikely places that you, Val, would often see as beneath you, such as bloggers, people on social media, random people on the street that rant about stuff they've seen in the night. And this seems to be no exception. He's still smiling and he says, citizen journalist friend of mine, she's been digging this up for a while and she brought it to my attention and, well, when I finish getting this story, it's gonna be front page news. Imagine that. Me on the front page and you left there in the lifestyle column.
See, if it ever happens, we'll see it.
Well, I could see the curiosity on your face. Surely you want to know what I'm working on, right?
Val never wants to answer this question. He's never had a story that's turned out well.
No,
not as
he
well
never
as
has.
hers. But she doesn't want to be baited by him, but she's very curious. She does the dumb thing, and she bites.
If anything,
All
she
right.
just wants to see what train wreck he's in store for.
All right, Jace, what's this amazing story going to be that's going to get you onto front page news?
Well, he smiles, leaning back on his desk. Appears someone's been, stealing blood from people after they leave the blood bank. You know, the blood drive for Easter going on. Just imagine the potential here. Look, someone is assaulting and mugging the Good Samaritans, donating blood at Easter. And it's got that sensationalism too, Valerie. That thing that your stories often lack, you see. Just, look, my friend tells me that these people aren't simply being attacked. Somebody is stealing blood. They're waking up feeling dizzy, nauseous, tired, not remembering where they've been for the last few minutes. One of them even woke up with a big bite mark on her neck, like something out of one of those old vampire movies.
Sounds like spending time with you.
Oh, come on, Val, be sporting, he says. Look, problem is, my blogger friend's keeping the details close to her chest. See, look, I took her out for lunch. Didn't think there was a story in it, you know, but she's a looker. I thought I would try my chances, and what do you know, topic turns to stories that we're working on, and she leaves this in my lap, and I said, Jace, that's your way to the front page. And so I decided I'm gonna get to the bottom of it, if I can get her to divulge the details. Once I'm done here, once I'm finished helping Fred with the layouts for tomorrow's edition, I'm gonna be heading down to that blood bank myself, questioning the people in charge of the blood drive, seeing if they got any info for me.
Well, I wish you best of luck with that. I hope you don't screw it up like last time.
Oh, look, you were responsible for working on that vampire murder story a few months ago. Give me a chance to prove myself. G-Town loves to read about this shit.
So, Jace is the kind of person who has had several very, very, very good articles, but never anything front page. And neither is Val. It's kind of like a title that they're both gunning for. The championship belt.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe that he can do it this time, but he has a loose mouth, as you can hear. So she's going to go down to the blood drive before.
Yeah. This may be, just a bunch of hot air, someone playing pranks leading up to Easter, trying to get into the paper by taking advantage of a sap just like Jace. But if someone's feeding on people after they donate blood, then this could be a Masquerade breach. And it looks like, Val, you're the first kindred to hear of it, and being a hardliner cam as you are, well, you have to at least look into it. And so, you manage to weasel the address out of him. It's a blood bank down in South Gateway, down in Thompson, right off Dunedin Road. Ordinarily, it wouldn't be of much interest. It's out there in the sleepy suburbs, the part of the city that was once fairly middle class, well-to-do, but has been hit hard by the economic downturn due to the pandemic. And you wouldn't expect much, if anything of interest, to ever be going on there, but it is cam territory. If someone's breaching the Masquerade, if someone's poaching down there, then Val needs to get to the bottom of it. So, before you head off for the night, I presume you'll be contacting the rest of the coterie and letting them know what's going on.
Yep, absolutely.
And so, we skip forward about half an hour As Val alights from the Uber, from the red Toyota Camry that brought her down Dunedin Road, and she steps into the wide open parking lot at the end of the street, about a block away from the blood bank. She's the first one to arrive, but not for long. You hear the roar of the engine of Tig's ute and the telltale sound of barking dogs as Tig's ute rockets into the car park. Passes by the leaving Uber, eliciting a look of disgust from the driver, and parks right next to Val. The dogs don't let up for a second, seemingly even more excited now. As Tig exits the vehicle, scratches one of the dogs behind the head and raises a hand in greeting, and the passenger side door of the car opens, and Bouncer steps out, looking as per usual for anyone who's caught a lift with Tig, as if they've just had a near-death experience. Her usually tightly fitting jacket hanging lopsided and askew off her shoulder, her hair frizzled and her brown skin caked in dampness, her eyes bloodshot. It's clear, Val, that Bouncer is agitated, hungry, and yet when you called the rest of the coterie, you impressed upon them how important it is to get to the blood bank as soon as possible. And then, before Bouncer or Tig have a chance to say anything, the last member of the coterie, the newest member, arrives. Marion, would you like to describe what you drive? How you get around? What sort of mannerisms Bouncer will see as you exit your vehicle and she lays eyes on you for the first time? Oh, Ash, you might be muted.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was going to say, Marion, would you like to describe what sort of car you drive? What vibes Bouncer gets from you as she sets her eyes on you for the first time?
Oh, it's a Mercedes, of course.
Yeah. Silver?
No, black. It's an 80s model, but it's been well maintained.
Yeah, well maintained. So this black Mercedes drives into the car park and gracefully glides to a stop as the door springs open and out steps Marion and Mitch, who seemingly caught a lift with her.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
Mitch immediately shuffles over to the rest of the coterie, looking nervous and neurotic as always. But Marion, I assume you have an air of confidence about you.
Oh, yeah, always.
Marion explains that she was in the vicinity of Barton University, doing business for the Hecata when she received Val's call. She knew that Mitch usually could be found there, and so she decided to come through and pick him up, especially as she was aware that she would be meeting Bouncer tonight for the first time, and perhaps wanted to impress upon Bouncer how her own coterie seems to have immediately taken to Marion, going so far as letting her drive them around. So, Marion, you lay your eyes on Bouncer for the first time.
Actually,
And
as Marion's stepping out of the car with Mitch, she's just like continuing the conversation. She's like, "It truly is a fascinating theory of yours." And it's obvious that she's referring to Mitch's multiverse shenanigans.
yeah. Mitch doesn't seem to realize that Marion's not genuinely interested, that she's mainly
No,
just
I think she
getting
is to a degree.
is to a degree, but she's mainly humouring him. And he's, for his part, getting really into it, describing how the drink that he orders at a bar has the potential to change the course of history, and it's not until Val clears her throat that he finally stops, looks over at the coterie, raises a hand in a nervous greeting, and shuffles over to them. And then, Marion, for the first time, you set your eyes upon Bouncer, and it is clear that you're not seeing her at her best. Her eyes are bloodshot, hungry, her hair frazzled, her clothes lopsided and askew. And it's clear by the way she looks at you that she doesn't think highly of you. She doesn't even have to speak. The look on her face says it all.
Nonetheless, Marion is all smiles, and she says, "Oh, darling, you're finally here. It's so good to finally meet you."
Bouncer.
Yes, it's so good to finally meet you. And you
Oh.
are?
I apologize. Marion. Call me Marion. I've been very excited to finally say hello. I've heard so much about you.
Oh, I.
Yeah, Val
haven't heard
fishes
much
around
about
in
you.
her mouth for a bit of loose gristle or something, completely unamused by the display.
Who the fuck is this? Spits your beast inside you, Bouncer. Who the fuck is this Val of Wish.com? This imposter? Where's Cross?
Marion looks over to Val with a feigned curiosity and says, "Surely you haven't forgotten to mention me."
Oh my
No,
dear,
this
I
is the
never
one I
forget
was
anything.
telling you about. This is the one I was telling you about, Bouncer, the one who pulled politics again.
Yes, and they're the reason that Cross isn't with us anymore.
Oh, that had nothing to do with me, I assure you.
Oh, of course not, of course.
No.
So Val's really fishing for that gristle now.
I answer to my superiors like you all do.
Not exactly. But, you
Marion fishes around in her handbag and pulls out a toothpick, which she hands to Val.
Val, seeing that Mitch caught a lift with Marion, you're probably feeling a bit annoyed. Last time you saw Mitch, he actively worked against you. And now he's all buddy-buddy with Marion, it seems.
Mitch doesn't know what Val has been up to. So she lets it slide, but she will be having stern words with him very soon. And how did you get here anyway? I don't remember texting you. I don't remember calling you. I don't remember interacting with you at all since last time.
probably spooky ghost shit.
Were you addressing me or Mitch?
I was addressing Marion, but looking directly at Mitch.
Mitch, did you by any chance send Marion a text message telling her that Val is assembling the coterie?
Yes, he thought it was just a mistake that Val didn't have Marion's number yet or something.
Aww. Sweet boy.
Oh, my sweet Mitchell.
Then Definitely a summer child.
Whatever do you mean?
I mean, I didn't actually contact you. Why are you here?
But, honey, I hope you haven't forgotten that I'm part of your coterie now.
Val subconsciously snaps the toothpick in half with one hand between her fingers. Well, we're all here. There's something to do, so let us be about it.
Yes, let's. And she claps her hands together. Where to?
Bouncer, internally, what's your take on the new member of the coterie? Bearing in mind you are incredibly hungry right now, very irritable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think being in the state she's at the moment is very, like... Yeah, no, she's too... too that, like, annoying, bubbly confident for her at the moment, like... Normally she could probably handle it, but at the moment it's very irritating.
Bouncer's doing her best to just say as little as possible, fake pleasantries and that's it, because she knows that if she made her feelings known, it'd probably result in someone getting hurt. She really needs to feed. And so, the blood bank is at the end of the street. It's a 5-minute walk from where you are. And I will ask the question of Bouncer. Will you accompany the others, as hungry as you are? Or are you going to go and hunt and potentially miss out on any action?
God, I really should hunt, but I probably should be there.
Keep in mind that if you don't, Val is going to command Bouncer to go and eat so they don't make a mess of things.
Yeah, Val just purses her lips and loudly announces, if anyone's hungry, they should have that taken care of so as not to make a mess of things. Still up to you, Bouncer.
Yeah. No, yeah, she'll excuse herself and just like, I'll meet you there.
Very well. Bouncer, you are a siren, I believe.
Yep.
So go ahead and roll your predator roll for me.
Charisma subterfuge. And my looks or any of that doesn't apply to this, does it?
Actually, yeah, you can add your looks. Because you hunt by seduction, so... So this is...
3 successes.
3 successes. So this is not your usual hunting ground, Bouncer. This is Cam territory. Usually you wouldn't be caught dead hunting here, but you are with the coterie. And although Val hasn't mentioned Sam, the fact that you're looking into a Masquerade breach means you're effectively working under Sam's auspices right now, which means hunting here is not poaching. So you take a few minutes to sort of get your bearings, taking stock of what's available in the surrounding area. And as the coterie heads down the street towards the blood bank, you start making your way up Dunedin Road, closer to the Barwon River. You know that there are some trendy cafes and places like that on the border of South Gateway. You're hoping you'll find someone there. Only one Riverside Cafe appears to be open at this hour. The Happy Place, the sign says. It's a beacon of light in an otherwise dark and empty street, and you can hear the buzz of happy, inebriated voices coming from within. Immediately, your beast perks up. Fresh blood in there. Paint the floor red, take it all. You make your way into the Happy Place, so hungry that you barely even register what's inside. The decor, the faces of the people, the music playing from the jukebox. It's all lost in a in a haze of bloodthirst as the predator sense inside you takes over, your eyes narrowing, scanning the crowd of patrons for a suitable vessel. And then, something you did not expect. Your eyes lock onto a man in his early 20s at most, maybe even as young as 19, with long flowing blonde hair and blue eyes. There's something vaguely familiar about his face, almost intimately familiar. And as you find yourself inexplicably drawn to him, taking a seat at an empty table right next to his, you lean over, listening in on the conversation he's having with a group of university-aged patrons. Hey, listen to this, he says. It's an old one, but it's a good one. Ready? The rest of the university students lean in eager. Go on! Tell us, Thomas! Alright. The blonde guy clears his throat and he says, knock knock. Oh, come on, a knock knock joke? No, bear with me. It's an old one, but it's a good one. Knock knock. Who's there? Weekend. Weekend who? We can do anything we want! Party! Thomas, the blonde-haired man, fist pumps in the air and suddenly a memory from your mortal days flashes through your mind, unbidden. An old friend, Lucy. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Your best friend throughout high school. Hey, Pip, she says, clapping you on the back as she leads you into a nightclub. Knock, knock. Who's there, you say? Weekend, she says. Weekend who? We can do anything we want! Ha ha! You shudder back in the here and now. Your beast purrs in anticipation, while a sense of revulsion shoots down your nervous system into the pit of your stomach. You realise why his face is familiar. And he's just about the right age. Shortly after that night out with Lucy, you were embraced. You cut off contact with her. You kept in touch with some of your other friends. Melissa, Clara, the Club Violet girls, but Lucy, she'd just got knocked up, and you, as a new, fresh-faced vampire, you didn't want to be around a child, a newborn, just in case. And here he is, grown up, right in front of you. And in spite of yourself, your beast has taken hold. You don't remember getting up out of your seat, but at some point you did. You're standing over him, over his table, smiling. He's looking up at you. Ah, look, see? She thought it was funny, he says, pointing at you. Take him. Drink him. Take him. You're owed him. What would you like to do?
I think probably somewhat regret it later, but she's too hungry at the moment. She'll just like go through the usual motions of just like chatting him up and then getting him somewhere she can drink him.
There's a moment of hesitation. When you look down at him, you see Lucy's face staring back at you, seeing her clearly for the first time in 20-odd years, but the beast urges you to take him, and so you do. You go through the motions, chatting him up, feigning laughter at the next joke, and the next, and the next. And eventually, before you know it, you've lured him down the hallway, past the toilets and out the fire escape into the narrow alleyway behind the cafe. You've got him pinned against... And without even willing it, your hands are moving of their own accord, unbuttoning his shirt, sliding his belt out from his jeans. And then, the ecstasy, the warm, fresh blood running down your throat. Yes, says the beast. Yes. We've wanted this, you've wanted this. A gift from your old friend. Just as friends should. But you are at hunger 4, and as you feel him beginning to struggle underneath you... Ah, wait! Hang on. No. Ah, what are you doing? Oh, fuck! Hey, that hurts! Stop it! I would like you to go ahead and make me a resolve, plus composure, plus a third of your humanity roll for me, to see if you can stave off the hunger frenzy. He squirms, trying to push away, but your fangs bite deeper and deeper, almost piercing his windpipe, blood pouring down his neck, and you're slurping it up with relish, like a rabid animal. How did you go?
That's 6 successes.
6 successes.
Okay.
You want to take more and more and more, but the beast is quieter, softer at this point, and you're able to regain control of your body, exerting every ounce of willpower you have. You grit your teeth and pull yourself away from him, letting him slink down the brick wall, where he lands at your feet in a heap, simply looking up at you, his eyes wide with terror, his mouth trembling. You. Do you say anything to him, or do you simply leave?
think there's a moment where she tries to, but then yeah, it ends up just leaving.
Bouncer opens her mouth to say something. Maybe a message for him to pass along to his mother. But then she realizes that to Lucy, she's dead. And there's no use dredging up old wounds. So she simply leans over, licks the bite wound shut, and turns and leaves Thomas still sitting against the brick wall, moaning in a mixture of terror and ecstasy. You may reduce your hunger to 1. We will return to the others. The blood bank is right at the very end of the street, on the corner of Dunede Road and Thompson Street. It's a modern-looking white building, white plaster, flat roof, and most of it is glass, windows looking out onto the street. The lights are on inside, and you can see, even at this time of night, at least a dozen people lining up to the door, and even more seated around the waiting room, waiting for their chance to donate. There's a decal of a buff-looking superhero in bright red tights with a cartoon blood droplet on his chest, where Superman's emblem would be. Staring at you from the window next to the front door, a speech bubble coming from his mouth reads, "Give blood for Easter and become a hero." Take a few minutes if you line up before you're admitted into the blood bank. But you could always try to find a way to bypass the line.
I mean, I got a name, somebody who's important here, but I'm shit at lying, so...
This is indeed the correct blood bank. There can't be too many blood banks in G-Town. At least not on Cam territory. So Tig, you might have a name you can drop. Mitch, Marion, and Val. I'm just gonna line up.
Mitch couldn't donate blood when he was alive, so I don't know how he'd feel trying to line up at a blood bank while dead.
Yeah, Mitch is very obviously nervous. Even the facade of being here to donate is making Mitch nervous.
Lines are for chumps is Val's motto. So she cuts all the way to the front.
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, back of the line! Someone shouts. We got here first! As Val just struts past towards the front door.
Now, Val, that's very rude, says Marion as she joins in doing the exact same thing.
Same thing.
Val's going to be peering out around and above people, trying to see if there's any, head nurse or a doctor or somebody of importance she can talk to. Why deal with the riffraff? You can go to the source.
Indeed, right at the head of the line, standing just beyond the threshold in the waiting room, is a man with shoulder-length reddish hair, wearing green nurse's scrubs. And as he sees you and Marion cutting the line, he holds out his hand and he says, sorry ladies, you're gonna need to go to the back of the line. We've got to keep things orderly here. I just know you're very excited to donate blood. But you're gonna have to line up with everyone else. Unless you got a prior appointment, that is.
Val lets a big grin kind of cover her face and announces that she's in fact Valerie Harding, On behalf of the Addy, looking for somebody to speak to about this stolen blood situation, saying it maybe a little bit too loud.
Go ahead and make for me a charisma persuasion roll, please, Val. And I assume you have your ore on.
Yes, should have her
Yeah,
on.
go ahead, add your presence.
So what was that? Charisma?
Charisma, persuasion, plus presence. Marion, you see heads in the line turn to face Val, stare at her as she walks past. And to you, it seems like a needless display of attention-seeking.
So Val will whisper very politely to the man. I suggest you find somewhere a bit more private to chat, unless you'd like this to continue. She rolled a 5.
Stolen blood. Shit, keep your voice down, he says, leaning in.
So about that room.
All right, look. He peers over your shoulder. He spies Tig and Mitch standing at the back of the line. I presume they're with you?
Valerie shrugs.
Tig nods.
Yes, they're with us.
All right, come on. He motions. Any more of yous?
Bouncer hasn't returned yet, has she?
No, she's still feeding.
Oh man, we're gonna have to leave a breadcrumb trail for her.
Oh, we can just text
Yeah,
her.
there is one more, but she seems to be running late. I guess we'll deal with that when it happens.
5 reporters for a story like... Shit, he says. All right, I guess this is serious.
Oh, we're not all reporters. And she winks at him.
This seems to unsettle him even more. He opens his mouth to say something and then shakes his head, shrugs, and beckons you through the door. He leads you past the crowded waiting room, down a corridor that leads to the pathologist's office. And he stands in the hallway, waiting for a second. The door in front of you opens and a woman with blonde hair steps out, rubbing her right arm where a band-aid has been placed just under her shoulder. She smiles at the head nurse and then makes her way down the hallway. And as soon as she's out of earshot, he clears his throat and he says, Miss Christine, people here to see you about the thing. You know, a female voice hisses from inside the office. Get in here. Don't say anything more about it. He nods. All right, feel free to head on in, he says, and then he turns and starts making his way back down the hallway towards the waiting room. All right, who's next? We're taking a 10 to 15 minute break, he says. Bear with us. Got to clean the equipment. Redo everything, you know. Step through the doorway into a pathologist's office. And there you see, or rather, only Tig would recognize her, I think.
Yep.
Christine, the Tremere. And I'm going to put a picture of her up in Owlbear Rodeo, just so those of you who haven't seen her before can get a good look at her. She seems to be playing the part of the pathologist. She's wearing a long white doctor's coat over green scrubs. Her blonde hair is frazzled out of order and the lines on her face deep. Something's clearly on her mind. She finishes labeling a vial of blood which she drops into a plastic bag, sliding shut a metal drawer on her desk and then whirls around to face you. Tig Duncern, she says. And then
Christine.
her eyes narrow as she takes in the sight of Val. Valerie Harding. Oh. Well, what have I done to attract the attention of a harpy?
It's not necessarily about what you've done, but it's definitely about what someone has done.
Peers over at Marion. I nearly called you Moira. She frowns. I'm afraid I don't recognize you. I haven't seen you at court before. Ah, you must be Hecata.
Giovanni, to be precise.
Christine holds out a hand. I'm Christine. I'm with the Tremere.
Pleasure to meet you, Marion Dunsan.
No relation.
Some relation.
Christine mulls over this.
A little relation.
Turn.
More than you'd expect.
She looks between Tig and Marion, trying to see a resemblance. She eventually decides she can't see any, so she just leans back and she says, interesting. Well, truth be told, I was thinking of reaching out for assistance. You see, I'm running into a few dead ends in my own investigations. And given that you sent Mr. Cryer my way, I was thinking of tapping Sam, getting her to send you along so we could get to the bottom of this, but, well, I was waiting to see how the last few leads I have pan out first.
Yeah, about that. Loose lips sink ships, and I have heard about this on the grapevine, in fact, which means that it's one step away from being a masquerade breach.
She frowns, biting her bottom lip. I was hoping to keep it under wraps, but... Well, of course you would hear about it. There's been a blogger, some woman sniffing around, says she's got connections at the paper, and, well, I suppose that's how it got back to you.
Yes, she does have a connection. Very unstable connection, but a connection nonetheless.
Look, I'm willing to help you any way I can, but... Anyone hungry? She says.
That's right, we had a deal for 3 eats. Anyone thirsty?
Valerie normally wouldn't, but she is feeling more peckish than she'd like. And gestures. Gestures vaguely to receive anything that is being given. Her little hand outstretched.
Christine nods, smiling. She turns around and pulls open the metal drawer, begins to rifle through it until she pulls out a blue medical cooler, slams it down on the desk, and pops open the latch. Well, now that I don't have to provide vitae for Nadine Brandt, I'm quite happy to provide some as a favour to you. I have an arrangement with Mr. Duncern, after all, and I presume you'll be in this for the long haul, so I'd like to make sure you're fed and at the top of your game. She turns around with 3 bags of fresh blood in her hand and hands them to you, Val. She says, you don't have to have it all here. Feel free to take some to go. That's about as much as I can spare tonight, but if you come back in about a week, I'll have more.
Yeah, Val will slip 2 of them into her bag and suck right on down on the first.
She uses her fangs to pierce the plastic, sucks it dry like a juice box, and the blood is gone within seconds. And Val, this is the first time you've ever had bagged blood, and, well, if your usual fare was aged wine, this is goon from the local drive-thru. It does not compare, and your beast actively rebels. What is this? What are you feeding me? What is this insult? She's insulting you, insulting us.
Yeah, Val kind of coughs as it goes down.
Goon for our international listeners is cask wine, for the record.
Cask wine.
Yeah. She remarks out to the group, oh my god, and cross-drank this willingly.
Foxwine.
Marion hands Val a breath mint.
Valerie also puts that in her bag.
Drops it in. Well, says Christine, folding her arms, leaning back against her desk. I suppose you want me to get right back to the beginning then? Start from the top?
Please, if you don't mind, and don't leave anything out. It could all be very important.
Well, I'll certainly try not to, she says. So, well, you know there's this blogger. I try to keep kindred affairs out of the public eye, you know, Masquerade and all. So, being threatened with media attention, minor as it is, about attacks on blood donors, that gets my attention. Under usual circumstances, I would have laughed her off, but there were consistent reports from the last 3 victims that lined up. You know, one person reports feeling a little woozy and seeing strange things after they give blood, and they're a little odd, but nothing to worry about. 3 people telling this blogger the same thing? That demands further investigation. So, there's been 3 victims so far, as I understand it.
So what exactly are the symptoms? Like, isn't it extraordinarily normal for giving blood to make you feel woozy and faint and a bit odd?
Oh,
what's so special about this?
Usually, she says, usually everyone will get a bit woozy, you know. Usually I ask them to wait 10, 15 minutes out there in the waiting room, longer if they've walked here or come by public transport, you know. But this was strange. See, I don't know how this got to the blogger's ear, but there's been 3 victims so far, and, well, they've reported passing out on the street. Confusion over the last few minutes before they lost consciousness. Feelings of a warm place with a kaleidoscope of butterflies. And that part is certainly not normal, she says. Butterflies. Maybe someone might see butterflies. I take a little bit more than I should. They exert themselves. They don't wait the full 15 minutes, decide to walk back to the train station. They might see butterflies or elephants or strange colours, but 3 people saying the exact same thing on different nights. Well, I won't say it with 100% certainty, but it sounds to me as if somebody's poaching my herd.
Sounds also like it could be a case of hysteria. If people are talking and experiencing strange things.
But, she says, raising a finger, the blogger told me that one of the victims, the first, reported finding bite marks in his neck.
Who is this blogger, by the way? Nobody's deigned to tell me their actual name.
Look, if I give you her name, what are you going to do about it? I mean, if she's caught wind of a Masquerade breach, and when I spoke to her, she was fairly determined to get this published, how are you going to make sure that she doesn't say anything?
Oh, we all have our ways, don't we? The most pertinent question is she one of us, or is she one of them?
Could be someone's retainer, I guess, she says, but definitely mortal. I read her aura while she was here, and I don't believe she's a ghoul. Looks like, to her at least, she's just stumbled on something she thinks is interesting. So with that in mind, look, I know how the cam handles these things, and well, I'll ask that whatever you do, you don't kill her unless it's absolutely necessary.
I mean, I'm alright with agreeing to that. Anybody got a problem with that?
Do we normally do a lot of unnecessary killings?
Yeah, we don't normally.
She doesn't know us, though.
Well, good then.
He gestures at Christine.
Indeed.
Alright.
Look, just don't kill her, but whatever you do, make sure this doesn't get out into the public eye. It's a masquerade breach, and not only is she poaching my herd, but the blood that I gather here goes to the chantry. And if the chantry were to find out that poaching had occurred on my watch, they'd be most displeased.
Oh, so you think that she's the one poaching your herd?
I'm not saying anything, but she was the one who brought it to my attention, and yes, I believe she's mortal, but you never know. Either she's part of it, or she's simply reporting what she's heard herself. Either way, I would prefer if people within the chantry don't read in the advertiser that somebody's poaching blood from my clinic.
I think we'd all like it if we could clean this up lickety-split. Alright, so what's her name? Where is she?
Alright, she says. She
And
reaches
rest assured,
into...
we aren't going to kill her. That's not how we do this.
I know Mr. Duncern will keep his word, but she peers over at Marion. You, Miss Duncern. The Hecata are, well, known to be heavy-handed in their preservation of life.
I'm sure she'll
Funny.
behave, won't she?
Oh, don't take that tone with me, thank you, young lady. We'll be quite alright.
She reaches into her lab coat, pulls out a business card. As she hands it to you, Val, the first thing you notice is that it's apparently homemade. It's got the blogger's name in Microsoft word art, and a phone number.
Oh, wow.
Her name is Jessica Harper. The business card simply lists her as a citizen journalist and states that she specializes in human interest stories. Strangely, there's no link to her blog itself on the business card.
Val's gonna whip out her phone and do a super quick search. See if anything
Ah.
comes up. If she has a
Val?
blog, it should pop up.
Val, make me a wit or resolve plus investigate check.
How old is Val?
In terms of...
Like, actual age?
I suppose she would have been... How old was Val when she was embraced? Old?
Her apparent age is 28.
How actually old is she there?
So
51.
how... Yeah.
Okay.
And that's 3
Marion
successes.
just makes a comment that she finds it impressive that Marion is so good with technology.
How many successes did you get?
That was 3. Thank you.
3? You search her name and the word citizen journalist, and about halfway down the first page of Google results, you find what must be her blog. The blog's name is Gut Instinct, and a quick search of it reveals that it seems to be a revival of small town news, taking a human interest focus, linking topical news with human stories. The last thing that she reported on was when Pentex retrenched some workers a few months ago. Her blog featured historic photos and interviews with some of the older workers discussing the importance of the industry and how the layoffs had affected their lives and families. Over the holiday period, it looks like she's taken to stories about how people are coping in the economic downturn, and she's discovered that people are essentially selling their blood for cash to get through Easter. Mysteriously enough, she hasn't yet reported on the attacks.
And, coterie willing, she won't ever.
Her phone number, but you also have her blog, and while you're looking at her blog, I would like... Marion would be the one who would know this. Marion, go ahead and make for me an intelligence finance check.
Critical 7.
Critical 7.
Nice.
As you look over Val's shoulder, watching her scroll down the blog feed, something catches your eye. At several points, Jessica does stories about her day-to-day life, where she patrols the streets, catches someone who looks interesting, asks them some questions, takes a photo of them, and writes a little piece about them for her blog. A lot of these pieces appear to have been written or at least conducted at the same place, and it's a place that you specifically recognize, Marion. It's a fairly upmarket internet cafe in downtown G-Town. It's on the first floor of what's called the Empire Building, and the reason you recognize this is because the Empire Building, decades ago, was the centralized location of much of G-Town's financial sector. The stock market was there, the big banks were there, tax firms and all sorts of investment firms took up most of the building. You'd recognize that lobby anywhere, even though you haven't set foot in it for years.
Oh, lovely. I know it quite well. It's been a little while, but...
Oh, that's something.
So it appears that this internet cafe on the ground floor of the Empire Building is one of her regular spots.
And chances are where we might meet her.
If you don't
All
want
right,
to call her and
Christine,
arrange. Yep.
Is there anything else you can tell us? So we know that this blogger somehow has information about this, and you don't understand exactly how. We know that there have been 3 victims, and we know that one of them has bite marks. Is there anything else you're leaving out? Is there any other information?
She shakes her head. No, the blogger didn't tell me anything more than that. She was trying to get details from me. I just said no comment, sent her on her way. I would have liked to have spoken to the victims myself, but we're processing 100 people a night here. I have the names and addresses of everybody who's donated blood here, but good luck narrowing that down to 3 people.
So you don't know who was attacked?
She shakes her head. They were attacked after they left the clinic, so outside of my purview.
The other pertinent question is, do you have any idea who could be leaking this information from the clinic?
She frowns. That's what I'm struggling with. Levi out there, the head nurse, he's trustworthy. He doesn't know anything about kindred matters, so he wouldn't be leaking it. I would struggle to think of anyone who would be intentionally leaking this information. I just think that maybe the victims reported it to the police or something, and this blogger's got her nose in police affairs, maybe heard about it. It'll be a question to ask her how she found out about it, I think.
Yeah, it does seem like a fairly simple explanation. Yeah, we'll have to talk to her then. Anyone else got any other thing else to ask?
No, it seems like all the leads have dried up here, but we've got plenty to go on. Unless there's something you've forgotten, Christine. Anything little, even.
She folds her arms and she says, well, I can't think of anything else. I've told you pretty much all that I know. There is one thing, but I absolutely cannot give it to you, and that is the list of donors. It's officially Chantry property, and it would be more than my job's worth.
That's kind of medically unethical too, isn't it?
I suppose, she says. Although that's not really what I'm thinking of here. No, the Regent would be most displeased if anyone got their hands on that.
Oh, how about this?
Well, I'm quite glad you didn't ask.
Valerie produces a business card with her phone number on it and says, well, should the worst come to pass and we need to do something to clear up this situation, I believe you should call us.
Oh, she says.
Or we'll call you. We don't have to take the list of all the names, but if we start coming up dry and the roof starts coming down and this looks like a masquerade breach, I believe that you will do what's right and provide us with the information we need.
It's better that you use that number. My phone acts up sometimes.
Oh, is that so, Mr. Duncern? She says, the corner of her lip twisting into a smirk. I've tried to call you
It's the Duncern curse.
Marion chuckles at that and she says, mine definitely does too. I think it is in the family. In reality, she's just really old.
Yeah. I've tried to call Mr. Duncern at least 5-6 times over the last week. Either he never answers, his phone is off, or I leave a message and he never gets back to me.
It acts up all the time. It does. So
All right.
better you call that number. Yeah.
I will call
There's
Valerie.
no curse in my family.
I will call Valerie if anything occurs to me. In the meantime, remember, the Chantry is involved here. Do not jeopardize their interests, and if you manage to resolve this peacefully and quietly and avoid this getting out of hand, there may be a boon in it for you.
So we'll be doing everything that we can regardless, but that does sweeten the pot.
I'm sure I can talk the Chantry into offering some services, she says.
And don't forget, if things do come to worse and we have to pull out all the stops, I hope we can rely on you for information about the patients to speak to. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but if it's between that and a masquerade breach, I'm sure you understand the severity.
We'll see, she says. Then she peers over your shoulder and claps her hands and says, all right, Levi, next patient! The door bursts open and Levi, the nurse, is there, and there's a rather nervous-looking, short, middle-aged man standing behind him. Levi gestures for you to follow him, and as you step out of the room, he pats the short man on the shoulder and half pushes him, half guides him into Christine's office, pulls the door shut behind him, and starts to lead you back down the hallway towards the waiting room. And as he does, I would like all of you to make a wits awareness check for me, please.
I should probably pull my character sheet up, shouldn't I?
1 success.
1 success.
That's 2 from Val.
3
2
for
from
Mitch.
3 for Mitch. So, and Tig?
3 from Tig.
So, Tig and Mitch are the ones who notice Val and Marion strutting back down the hallway. Their minds both focused on the task at hand. Mitch and Tig linger behind ever so slightly, and on the way back to the waiting room, you pass an open door. Peering through the half-open door into the blackness beyond, you can just make out the shape of filing cabinets. It's an archive room. You barely have a second to register this fact before another nurse, a woman with shoulder-length black hair wearing green scrubs, pulls the door open the rest of the way, smiles encouragingly at you, perhaps thinking you're here to donate blood, and then pulls the door shut behind her. And then the placard on the door confirms it for you. Archive room. The nurse winks and then makes her way down the hallway towards the waiting room.
Tig shares a glance with Mitch. If we need to get sneaky, we could, but I think we got more things to do before we try getting sneaky, eh?
We should probably wait at least a little bit until we start poking around here more. I think Christine's probably a little bit too on guard after our conversation to let us get away with that.
We'd need more information on what to poke around first. Just getting the whole list won't do nothing for us.
True.
So
We can always come back later.
always come back. So Mitch, you don't want to sneak in?
Not at the moment. He
Not at
definitely
the
keeps it in the
moment.
back of his mind, though.
Yeah. You catch up to Val and Marion in the waiting room. Just as the front doors of the clinic slide open and Bouncer steps in, looking much better now. Her hair once again neat, her jacket pulled tightly around her body. Her brown skin no longer flecked with spittle and blood.
There's the bouncer, I know. Took your time, but you do look a little bit better for wear.
Welcome back, lovely.
You ain't missed much. I can fill you in on the ride.
Truly, you didn't miss much.
Also,
that's
does anyone know who this Chantry bloke is? Is he a good fella?
I would like... anyone who wants to can go ahead and make an intelligence politics roll.
I mean, is he like the sheriff or something? Or is it like, I don't know, limited to just the Tremblers or something like that?
2 for Marion.
3 from Val.
She doesn't pay attention.
Yes, 3 from Val.
3
And
from
Marion
Val,
has 2 dots in politics.
2 dots in politics, right? And I suppose Bouncer, Tig, Mitch, you guys
Mitch got a 1.
got a 1.
Tig has no idea, which is why I asked in the first place.
Yep. And Bouncer.
Yeah, no, I'm going with the assumption Bouncer has no idea, like, the Chantry or any of that stuff going on.
Yeah, they don't really get involved in Anarch affairs very often, so it makes sense. It's Val and Marion that immediately know. You have to rack your brains for a second, because the Tremere in G-Town are typically quite isolationists. quite isolationist. They're like the Hecata. They reach out to the Cam and the Anarchs very rarely, usually when they need services and they'll make a mutually beneficial arrangement, but for the most part, they stick to themselves. Just the same, you're both aware that the regent of the Tremere is a man named Byron. He's a rather elusive figure. You've never seen him in Elysium, even once in the entire time you've been kindred, and everything you know about him is just hearsay. It's said he's an extremely powerful warlock. He knows more about blood sorcery than anyone in the city, than perhaps anyone even in Melbourne or Sydney. One of the most powerful warlocks in Australia. And the reason why the Chantry is so isolationist is mainly because Byron is concerned only with one thing, and that is researching the properties of the blood and how they interact with the magic, and cares nothing at all for politics.
And Tig asked, who is the Chantry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard that title.
Well, the Regent, Byron, is a rather elusive man. I'd love to meet him. She lies.
Right,
There's-
Byron Regent, okay.
There is one thing that springs to your mind, Marion, that does not occur to Val, because you have 2 dots in politics. You've heard rumours that Byron isn't the most ethical of researchers, and in fact, in the past, his name has been associated with several fairly large-scale Masquerade breaches.
And truly, I am shocked.
Oh, Val has 4 dots in politics.
Oh, well, yeah,
Oh,
Val, you're
damn,
aware.
bro.
You're more than aware of it too, Val. And in fact, seeing that the purpose of this blood bank appears to be to harvest large amounts of blood for the Chantry, it doesn't surprise you.
Now, we discovered that Jessica seems to spend time at this internet cafe at the Empire.
Yep, that's correct. You do also have her phone number.
Val would very much like to go to the internet cafe and just call the phone and see if she happens to be there and drop in on her unexpectedly.
Anyone?
But I'm not sure if everybody else would enjoy that potentially fruitless trip.
What do the others think?
Oh, Marion's just traipsing along for the ride for now.
Yeah.
I got no other leads to follow up. We got no other leads to follow up on, and you're the journalist. You're probably the best one to follow up on it, so you tell us how you want it to go. We got your back.
And Mitch was going to say
Don't
something.
we, Mitch? We got her back, don't we, Mitch?
Yeah. Anyways, I was going to say that one of us could pretend to be someone who is a victim of one of these attacks and try to coordinate a meetup with her under the guise of us being an informant of some sort.
Valerie just blinks. The words coming out of Mitchell's mouth are very confusing. He's never been underhanded like this.
Clearly Hawthorne's influence.
Well, I mean, we need information, and, you know, a little lying is okay sometimes if it helps us with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Valerie puts in Jessica's number, starts dialing it, and hands Mitchell the phone.
Oh god.
Mitch, you take the phone, your hands shaking. Val's just thrust it into your hands, and you raise it to your ear, and you hear it ringing. Doot, 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 doot. And then there's a click. And a feminine voice says, "This is Jessica of Gut Instinct, citizen journalist at your service. So who am I speaking to?"
Hello, yes, my name is, Mitchell, and I heard that you're investigating something regarding a blood bank, and I had an experience. I woke up extremely confused and was hallucinating, seeing things, and I heard that you might be interested in the information of what happened.
Certainly, Mitchell, she says. Actually, I'm on duty now. I'd be willing to do an interview right now. I know it's short notice, but...
Oh, no. I would love to, absolutely. I want to make sure my story is out there for people's safety.
Though, how did you find out what I'm working on? I don't believe I've mentioned it to anyone aside from my connections at the advertiser.
Val kind of just leans into Mitchell's ear and says, Jace Hooper.
But Jace Hooper? I was talking to him and he told me to contact you, gave me your number.
Go ahead and make me a manipulation subterfuge check, please, Mitchell.
1 success, fuck.
1 success, you
Willpower?
want to willpower that?
Yeah, okay.
Would you like a free willpower reroll? Val can give one of those out per night.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
There you go. Have a free reroll.
2.
2. Jace Hooper. Oh, right. Yeah, from the advertiser. Oh, I told him not to spread it around. Son of a bitch is trying to steal my story, isn't he? Never you mind that, Mitchell, dear. I would be happy to interview. Look, do you know the internet cafe on the first floor of the Empire Building on Bruce Street?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah, I'm working on a story there at the moment. I'll be there until 10:30. If you would like to stop by whenever, I'll do an interview with you.
Great. Thank you so much.
I'll see you soon, Mitchell, says Jessica. Bye! And then there's
Goodbye.
a click. The phone goes dead.
Valerie has this expression of confusion, bewilderment, and approval. She's not sure how that possibly worked, given his performance, but she's actually impressed that it did.
To be fair, Mitch always acts like he's in some sort of life-threatening danger because he's like a prey animal in terms of general aura. Yeah, we got our meeting. We just have to go to the internet cafe. She's there until 10:30, and I have to go pretend I was fed on, I guess.
10:30. It's about 9:30 now. It gives you about an hour to get there, so it's up to you if you want to head straight to that internet cafe, maybe look around, spy on her for a bit before you speak to her, or if there's anything else you'd like to do.
Val's going to announce, oh, do you think there's room in the Mercedes for us?
Oh, then, should be room for 1 or 2.
Oh, fantastic, because the coterie hasn't had a driver for a while.
Here now, I'll keep offering, and you keep saying, no, it's alright, we got Uber.
I can drive too.
Yes, but Marion seems to drive extremely well, don't you, Marion?
Oh, well, I mean...
I know, I'm giving you guff. I know Mercedes is more your style, Val. He looks at Marion and says, alright, if we're going to be working together proper-like, I'm going to need your birthday, please. And also to know what address you would like Christmas cards sent to.
Oh, take you, sweetheart. She pulls out a little pocketbook and writes down her details on a paper and tears it off and hands it to him.
Thanks. Didn't bother with Cross because he was a creepy little fuck, but we'll give you a shot.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. As Marion reaches into her pocket and pulls out a much nicer looking business card than Jessica's, handing it to Tig. Tig just nods. Doesn't really know how to add the number into his phone, but he flips out his Rolodex, inserts the business card, and smiles, satisfied. He
Some
gestures.
dust comes off the leather when he does.
Dust, yep. He doesn't open that Rolodex often.
No, the dust is the leather. It's slowly decaying.
Yeah, slowly decaying. Because he's had this Rolodex since like the 1970s, so...
Yeah.
And then he gestures towards the front door of the blood bank and he says, "After you, ladies." And Marion, Bouncer, and Val lead the coterie out into the cool autumn night.
Are you tired of just being an ordinary human, blending into the mundane crowd? Do you crave a sense of purpose, a chance to be someone extraordinary? Look no further, we have just the solution for you. Presenting the Hemoglobin Hero! By donating blood, you have the power to become a true superhero with a heart that beats for justice and compassion. It's time to unleash your inner hero and join the ranks of the selfless donors who are transforming lives one drop at a time. Donating blood is not only an act of kindness, but a chance to flex your metaphorical muscles and show the world what you're made of. By donating blood, you'll become a real lifesaver, capable of curing villains like anemia, cancer, and aiding the lives of accident victims. Imagine the satisfaction of knowing that your generosity can make a difference, turning someone's despair into hope. The Hemoglobin Hero, empowered by your donation, is ready to fight the evil forces of blood shortages. Together, we can conquer this challenge and restore health and happiness to our city.
Tig's truck rumbles down Dunedin Road towards the sparkling skyline of downtown G-Town. Running parallel alongside it, moving considerably much smoother by comparison, is Marion's Mercedes. Val, in spite of the fact that Marion appears to be full of hot air most of the time, you can't deny that you and Mitch are travelling in luxury tonight. The inside of the Mercedes is nicer than some apartments that you've been in your life. It's almost, the inside of the car is almost bigger than the outside, and the leather upholstery of the back seat alone is worth more than most people at the advertiser make in a year. Outside, you can see that Tig seems to be going out of his way to hit every single pothole on the road, or maybe that's just how his truck always behaves, looking like it's about to fall apart at any moment. All the visible bolts jiggling and jumping with each bump in the road. The three dogs in the back, obviously having the time of their lives, barking loudly, tails wagging furiously the whole way. And you could just make out the side of Bouncer in the passenger seat, her arms wrapped tightly around herself as she tries to protect herself from the constant sensory barrage that is riding in. Yeah, living up to her name, bouncing around. Tig's filling Bouncer in on everything that Christine had to say. And Bouncer, do you have any thoughts?
None that'd be pertinent right now, not really.
Across the bridge over the Barwon River, the black water glimmering as the stars and the full moon are reflected back at you. At this time of night, 9:30 p.m, Dunedin Road is still fairly active. People making their way into town to enjoy the nightlife, or late workers finally beginning their commute back home and seeing other cars blurring by is not at all strange. However, I would like everybody to go ahead and make a wits awareness check for me.
One success.
1 success.
3 successes.
3
Total
for
failure.
Tig. Total failure for Marion. Val and Bouncer.
3 from Val.
Yep, 7 so far. And Bouncer.
3 as well.
10 successes altogether. I was asking for at least 8 successes, so Bouncer, you got us over the line. So, it's hard to see at first. Dunedin Road is, of course, the main artery that links downtown to both the southern and northern suburbs. And the traffic is quite thick, at least as thick as it would be at this time of night. And so, you travel a fair distance down the road before you notice something suspicious. There's a red, deep crimson red Holden Commodore travelling the same direction as you, about 2-3 car lengths behind you. So far, they seem to have matched your movements perfectly, slowing down when you slow down, speeding up when you speed up. Even as you get closer to downtown and decide to get off Dunedin Road, turning down a small off-ramp to the east, following you down into the suburbs of South Gateway, matching your route through the residential streets.
Marion, have you noticed that we're being followed, or are you doing something with this?
Oh! Are we now?
Certainly seems...
The red something, whatever.
Sorry, darling, I was keeping my eye on the lights. Tell me, what's going on?
It's been following us for most of our entire trip. Every move you make, they make too.
Okay. That's, concerning. Marion, suddenly turns left down a street without indicating.
Without indicating. Alright. Tig, you're driving, and Bouncer, I assume, points out the car following you.
Yeah, so just noticing in one of the mirrors, it seems we have a fan.
I ain't been tailed for a long while, and could be any number of things. Could be somebody else looking at the blood bank.
You see Marion immediately, without indicating, pull a left turn into a nearby street. Her tires squealing.
No, I don't think they'd squeal. I think she does it just a matter of factly. And then I think she would also then turn again to the right and turn off her lights.
Yeah, so I would like Marion to go ahead and make me an intelligence or resolve plus drive check.
You know what? I'm gonna keep going on straight.
I'm gonna reroll
He's behind
that.
me, not Marion. So let's let him think nothing has happened, eh?
2 successes, and I have 1 dot in drive.
Yeah, 2 successes. So at this point, Tig slams his foot on the accelerator, and even in the Mercedes, you can hear the sound of his engine roaring. And the dog's barking louder than ever. As his truck screams ahead, kicking up a cloud of smoke behind it as the tires screech down the asphalt. Marion, you take this opportunity to quickly turn to the left without warning, sliding neatly into a quiet residential street and then hooking another right halfway down, making your way down a narrow dirt path flanked by parkland. They're no longer following you, Marion. At least you don't think they are. Mitch and Val in the back seat continue peering through the back windscreen while you occasionally take your eye off the road to peek in the rearview mirror, and now you appear to be completely alone on the dirt trail. The only signs of life, the glimmering lights of downtown ahead of you. That's because Tig, they seem to be following you now. The fact that you've sped up, kept going, has obviously piqued their attention. Just as they were before, they speed up to match your pace. And now it's just the two of you driving, matching each other's speed down a long, quiet residential street.
So what are you thinking, Bouncer? Shall we lead them on a merry chase and let the others do the fun stuff? Or shall we try and get fancy?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan for the moment. We'll see how long they want to keep following us for, and then if we get tired of it, we can try and lose them.
I know a good drive-through place. I need a few more six-packs anyways. Let's stop there, get some nosh, tuck it too.
So, Tig continues on, pretending nothing happened, until eventually the sleepy suburbs meet the edge of Bruce Street, and you're swallowed up by the inner city. The Red Commodore still following you. Tig makes his way down Bruce Street.
You might want to give him a call, let him know what we're doing.
Up to you,
Bouncer.
Yeah, fair point. Well, yeah, she'll take out her phone and give Val a call, just let him know what's happening.
So Val, it appears they've drawn the attention of the followers. They're basically just driving aimlessly around, giving you and Marion and Mitch the time to get to the Empire building without being followed. Eventually, Tig... Yep, go ahead.
Val's going to tell them to be safe.
Yeah, be safe. Don't do anything stupid.
Let me put it this way. If they get violent, they pick the wrong fucking ute to follow. Just saying.
Val is very glad that they decided to follow the ute instead.
Unless it's lupines. I mean, they've been acting up lately, but shit, what are the odds?
So Tig... Well, they can in human form, but I don't know if Val would necessarily know that.
Yeah.
Or Tig, for that matter. So, Tig eventually makes it about the length of Bruce Street. Right at the very edge of downtown, and it's at this moment that you see the gleaming neon sign of an O'Tolly's ahead of you. Oh, this is it, says Tig, as he pulls the steering wheel to the left and guides the ute into the O'Tolly's drive-thru. And as you turn into the O'Tolly's drive-thru, Bouncer, you're watching the rearview mirror intently. You see the Commodore just continue on, driving past, although you can clearly see the face of someone wearing a black hoodie and what looks like half a balaclava covering the bottom portion of their face, watching intently from through the passenger side window as the Commodore slowly glides past.
I hope Jessica's in danger.
Did you get the license plate, by the way?
If you want to try Bouncer, you can make an intelligence investigation check.
This will be interesting. Nope, total failure.
Total failure. You peer in the direction of the number plate, and you find that the car doesn't appear to have one at all. You can see the slot where it would be. You can see the bolt hanging from it that would attach the plate to the bumper bar. But it's completely plateless. And as you look back up, about to tell Tig, you meet the eyes of that person watching through the passenger side window as they lock eyes with you. Their eyebrows lower, their eyes narrowing. It's an obvious threat.
Yeah, after making eye contact and then seeing that, she just sort of chuckles to herself a little.
Okay. Not going to make an attempt to, shoot a look back at him?
Not at the moment.
You just smile, chuckling to yourself. Not going to activate your daunt just in case?
I suppose why not?
Case, go ahead. Make me a charisma, intimidate, plus presence check.
Mean mug. Mean mug.
That is 5 successes.
5 successes. As you lock eyes with him, and he gives you that threatening glare, you just smile back, baring your teeth, opening your mouth, throwing your head back in obvious laughter. And it unnerves him just as you hoped it would. His eyes go wide. He pulls away from the passenger side window. You see him whirl around and immediately say something to the driver, and then the Commodore's engine roars and the tires squeal as it speeds up, disappearing down the road into the traffic. About 5 minutes later, Tig's ute emerges from the Otolli's drive-through. The 3 dogs all gathered eagerly at the very back of the truck's cabin, eyes dead set on the Otolli's bag, wedged between the driver's seat and the passenger seat.
Settle down, be good. You gotta earn them nuggies. Gotta earn them chicken nuggies. Right. I think we're clear to proceed then. Yeah.
Where to, Tig?
I think they got a message, yeah.
Rendezvous with the others at the Empire.
Rendezvous with the others at the Empire.
But
so
we're gonna park a ways away. Just
probably a good idea. So, we cross to the others. Marion's Mercedes pulls into the underground parking lot underneath the Empire building. Marion reaches out of the driver's side window, pulls a ticket out of the machine, and then negotiates into bay number 39. Kills the engine, and then presses a button on the dashboard, and the back door pops open, allowing Mitch and Val to exit. They climb out first, stretching their legs as they clamber out onto the concrete, and then Marion's next. She carefully shuts the driver's side door behind her and points the keyring at it, pressing a button. Rip! The alarms of the Mercedes turn on, and you make your way across the parking lot to the little elevator at the very back that carries you up into the Empire building. Whoosh! The elevator doors slide open, admitting you to the opulent lobby of the Empire building. And Val, as you step out into the lobby, I'd like you to make me a resolve plus composure check, please.
Sure. That's 2 successes.
2 successes. Very well. That'll be enough. As you follow Marion and Mitch out of the elevator and hear your boots echoing on the polished floorboards, you realize that whoever decorated the Colonial Hotel probably had a hand in the decoration of the Empire building as well. Red carpet runs down the middle of the lobby, flanked by faux Roman marble columns. There's statues of various figures important to the city's history, standing equidistant from each other along the length of the lobby, and in the very center, a beautiful indoor fountain. You peer into it, and just under the surface of the clear, clean water are hundreds, perhaps thousands, of gold coins. You peer around the lobby, and branching off from it are a number of businesses, mainly clothes stores, though there is an accountancy firm by the name of Baxter's at the very back of the lobby. Finally, you find what you're looking for: the internet cafe. The sign declares it to be called Dial-Up, and it's got a very 90s looking sort of clip art figure of a man hunched over a keyboard, typing furiously, staring into a CRT monitor. Make your way...
Right,
yep.
Time to shine.
As you make your way towards Dial-Up, you check your phones and realise that you're about half an hour early for the meeting. So you could kill time, or you could simply head in, get the meeting started ahead of time. She'd probably be happy to see you. Or you could use this chance to maybe do a little bit of recon. Entirely up to you, Mitch and Val and Marion.
Should probably make sure that wherever Jessica is sitting, that there's like open seats next to it so they can listen in.
So Mitch leads Val and Marion into the internet cafe, and Marion, to you, the internet cafe seems quite modern. It very much evocative of the late 90s.com bubble. The computers themselves have been updated, but unbeknownst to you, they're still several generations out of date, and the walls are emblazoned with posters for websites that don't exist anymore, video games that came out 20 years ago, and GPUs and other peripherals that are at least 10 generations out of date.
So I can't play CSGO at 300 FPS here?
No, definitely not. You instantly... Yep, go ahead, Val.
Yeah, Val has a plan. She's going to take Mitchell's phone, kind of pluck it out of his pocket, and wander on into the internet cafe.
Yeah.
Walk around and prank dial Jessica's number just to see where she is. Just wander around.
So as you dial the number, I'd like you to make me a wits awareness check, please.
Oh, I'm going to reroll that. That's only 2. That sucks.
2. It's immediately obvious to you why Jessica chooses to use this place as her base of operations. Despite how undated it appears to be, dial-up is packed with people. You struggle to see even a single computer that doesn't already have someone using it, and there's an area beyond the computers, the cafe area of the cafe, where there's a couple tables and chairs just sort of pushed off to the side in a little alcove, and most of those have people sitting at them as well. You dial the number and start to scan the area, peeking your ears, trying to hone in on the sound of a ringing phone. And you do eventually hear it. However, there's a problem. 2 ringtones, the default iPhone ringtone, dun, 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 both ringing out at the same time. One of them supposedly emanating from the handbag of a youngish-looking woman with shoulder-length brown hair who's deeply engrossed in whatever she's working on her laptop, typing away. The other emanating from a middle-aged woman with a similar fashion sense to Marion. She doesn't appear to be working on anything. She's just sitting at a table close to the cafe counter, contemplating a plate of quiche or some other lightly baked, savoury good.
Marion probably makes a snarky comment about her.
Yeah, you did it first, and your fashion sense is up to date. Hers, she's wearing last year's version of that jacket.
Val's going to investigate the laptop-wielding woman.
She's just going to head straight up to her?
No, just walk past.
Walk past? Okay.
Yep, just taking a little glance, nothing too notable.
Yep. Mitch and Marion, while Val's doing this, do you have anything in mind?
Marion is she's genuinely happy to just observe and watch what everyone's doing. She's never been in a coterie like this before, and she's very curious.
Curious to see how they operate. So, and Mitch, you're just killing time till your meeting?
Yeah, I think he's trying to hype himself up into having a conversation with someone.
Yeah. So, Mitch heads over to the counter where you can book a computer, strikes up conversation with the bored-looking man behind it. You see that he's reading a PC magazine, so you point at it and ask him about the Linux distro that's there on the front cover and what he thinks of it. He raises an eyebrow and he says, "Linux? No, I don't use that nerd shit." Mitch just nervously chuckles and shrinks away. So, Val, I'd like you to make for me a resolve plus investigate check. Also, what Auspex powers do you have?
Lie detector, premonition, and scry the soul.
I'll allow you to add 1 dot of Auspex, because I think your lie detector would help here.
Sure. So let's resolve investigate.
Yep, plus a dot of Auspex.
That's still 2 successes.
Because this woman is not lying to your face. She's not talking to you, but as you approach her, and as she sees you approach and grabs the hilt of the laptop and slowly pulls it down, it's clear that she's acting secretive and doesn't want anybody to see what she's doing. As you approach her, her aura flares to life around her, a bright blue with flecks of yellow flashing on the edges. You stride past her casually, trying not to draw attention, and as you do, she slams the laptop shut. In the split second that you're able to walk past her, and I will ask, you going to willpower that?
It seems important, yes. Quickly roll that again. That's 3. That brings me up to 3.
In the split second before she pulls the laptop shut, you catch a glimpse of what's on the screen. It appears to be a map of G-Town, an area in the southern suburbs, Thompson, centered on where you know the blood bank to be is circled, and the area that's circled on the map is filled with little red dots, each signifying where something happened.
Okay, that's her go then. Belle's going to not make any sudden movements and not draw any further attention to herself and just continue shuffling on past.
You just move
like she
on
wasn't
past.
Even there.
The woman glances at you, raising an eyebrow, but you say nothing, shrugging and moving on. If only you could have got a longer look at that map, you might have been able to determine exactly what she was trying to triangulate. But right now, the laptop is shut, and it's not until you've walked past her and returned to the coterie that you see her finally grab the laptop screen and push it back up, check to make sure the coast is clear, and continue typing.
Yeah, Val's going to reunite with the group outside, and or at least in the foyer, and let Mitch know exactly what he's in for.
So, Mitch, as Val tells you, did you tell him that you saw a map on the screen?
Yeah.
So, Mitch, as Val tells you what she saw, it occurs to you that if you wanted to, you might be able to approach her obfuscated and get a good look at what's on the screen. It's unlikely that she'd show you while she's talking to you.
Yeah, Mitch will find someplace to duck into to activate Unseen Passage.
Yeah. Very easy. The internet cafe is quite packed, but you notice a little hallway leading off to the toilets on the side, so you just step out away from the cafe, and once you're in the hallway, you activate your Unseen Passage, blending into the shadows. Go ahead, rouse your blood.
Failure.
Oh yeah, you get hungrier. So you're up at hunger 2 now, I believe.
Yeah.
It's okay. Val does have some bagged blood for you if you really need it. You cross the internet cafe unseen, and if the woman can feel your presence, she doesn't make any sign of it. Typing away furiously, she zooms in on a map of the suburb of Thompson. The blood bank centered right in the middle, just as Val said, and she seems to be labeling each of the little red markers she's placed on the map. Victim 1, Victim 2, Victim 3, Strange Sighting 1, Strange Sighting 2, Strange Sighting 3. She clicks the mouse pad and starts to draw red lines between each of the dot points, trying to find a place where all of them intersect. She says under her breath as she highlights a specific street. She zooms in on the street, and you see on the map as she drops into street view that the street she's looking at appears to be made up mostly of empty businesses, all of them for lease. The few that are still operating are covered in graffiti and metal shutters. "Seedy to me," she whispers as she zooms out, and then, as if she's sure of herself, drags a highlighter tool onto the map and highlights that street, labeling it Hideout? ? And that street is Delta Street. She sighs, leaning back, and then reaches for her phone, checking the time. 10:15. She grabs the laptop screen and pulls it down, sending the laptop to sleep, and then leans back in her chair to wait for Mitch to arrive.
Mitch drops his sense the unseen as best he can to just kind of like, I don't know, look like he just kind of snuck up on her basically. And it's like, "Hey, are you you must be Jessica then?"
Oh shit, she says, as you seemingly step out of nowhere towards her. "Oh, sorry, you startled me. I must have been so caught up in my work I didn't even notice you approaching. Yes, Jessica Harper." She holds out a hand.
Mitch does a weak little shake.
"And you're Mitchell, of course. Please, take a seat, Mitchell," she says, gesturing to the empty seat opposite her.
Yeah, Mitch sits down.
She clasps her hands together and leans over the table. "So, tell me, you would be victim number 4, I believe. But, look, I know there's such a thing as hysteria and rumors going around and things like that, so just tell me what you've experienced, and I'll see how well it lines up with what the others have said."
Well, I went to donate blood, and things started normally enough, but then I got a lot weaker than I expected, and eventually I believe lost consciousness. When I awoke, I saw strange, I suppose, hallucinations, butterflies and strange things like that. Very strange imagery, and felt incredibly sick and weak, like something had happened while I was out.
As you say butterflies, you see her eyebrow immediately raise, her eyes glimmer. "Yes. Well, what you've experienced is, it lines up quite well with what the others have told me, actually," she says. So, quick question. You donated blood. Did you drive there, or did you walk or take public transport?
I took an Uber.
An Uber? Interesting, she frowns. See, The 3 victims I have all arrived by train, and they were attacked as they were walking back to the train station. It's about 2 blocks away from the blood bank. I guess...
While this is going on, Val is going to be inching closer and closer to the booth, just keeping an eye on Mitch, making sure he's okay.
Yeah. So, I will allow... How many dots in awareness do you have, Val?
Awareness? 3.
3. So I'd say as you sit down on a table across the cafe and watch Mitch, you're able to hear most of the conversation. And Marion, I suppose you're just sitting with Val, observing?
Yeah, she's probably sitting a bit back from Val. She's just very curious about all this.
Yeah, Val's ready to pounce in and save the day if required.
So, the train station's about 2 blocks away from the blood bank. And, well, you said you took an Uber, and this is interesting because it was about a block away from the blood bank on their way back to the train station that the other victims were attacked. So you're saying you were attacked just as you came out. If you took an Uber, obviously you didn't have far to walk.
Is a little bit fuzzy to me because of everything that happened. I do remember, though, something about parking, that it was very difficult to park because of all the people that wanted to donate. Perhaps I did have to walk a little bit before I made it to my Uber.
Make me a manipulation or wits plus subterfuge roll for me.
What am I better at? Oh, they're both the same. Okay. Oh, I don't want to spend a willpower on this. Oh, I'm going to spend a willpower on it.
Sorry, I already gave you my freebie.
Yep, already given the freebie.
It's fine. At least I'm not down, 2. I rolled a 2, by the way.
2, yeah. I'm going to roll for her, and I'm going to see what she does, how she does with her insight.
I hope it's very bad. I hope she is so not insightful.
Well, it's best journalist.
It's not like
3
she's an investigator
successes.
of some sort.
Yeah,
Fuck.
3 successes, unfortunately. She
wait.
frowns, and she says, So, personal items, wallet, jewelry, car keys, anything like that. What happened to those?
I keep everything in a messenger bag and found it not... It wasn't too far away from me.
And all your personal effects still inside, nothing taken?
Yes, as far as I could tell.
And how long do you think you were out for, would you say?
Mitch is going to, use Compel.
Yep.
Do I need to rouse the blood for that? I forget.
No, Compel is free. And what are you going to
Awesome.
compel her to do?
So he's going to start the next sentence with the phrase, "believe me," and that's his Compel phrase.
Believe. She seems immediately more receptive. She leans in. Yes, yes, yes. Encouraging you to continue.
Believe me, it was so traumatic that I can hardly remember much of it. Most people, have a very spotty memory after something like that happens to them, but, gosh, I don't know, it must have been a few minutes at least. I didn't really, check that much.
Well, yes, of course, I can understand you would be fuzzy after it. And just one last question. When did you say this happened?
Okay, out of character. These were all happening happening within the past few weeks, right?
Yeah, at least the past week, but you weren't actually told, when specifically they would happen, because Christine didn't know.
Okay, that's fine. Mitch just says, it must have been within the past week, maybe week and a half.
Jessica nods, frowning. Well, look, I'll be honest, there are some gaps in your story that don't quite line up, but look, for some reason, you seem sincere, and I'm gonna chalk that up to you just, being confused, traumatized. I'm quite happy to officially register you as the 4th victim. So, here's what I have so far, okay? Maybe some of this will jog your memory, she says. So, I've got 3 victims so far, 2 women and a man. They'd all given blood and they were walking to the train station. They'd all donated later in the night. According to my records, they'd all donated either at 11 p.m. or after. No personal items were taken. Their wallets, handbags, jewelry, etc. are all left alone. Now, they all recall a sensation of warmth, like sunshine and, dreams of butterflies. They were slightly embarrassed to admit this. It was quite refreshing that you just came out and said it. I had to coax a little bit, but they all saw butterflies. They all say they were out about 15 minutes or so, and when they woke up, they were leaning against a wall or a shop front, okay? And so I did an incident timeline, and it looks like that these attacks have occurred every second night over the past week. There's probably more victims than just you guys as well. You've given blood. Obviously, I've given blood. It's quite normal to feel woozy, sometimes faint, see or hear things, and some people probably would have just chalked it up to that and not even come forward with it.
I noticed. Sorry. That you
Go ahead,
keep
Mitch.
using the word victims. I'm interested to know what makes you think that this is an attack rather than perhaps something, I don't know, like you mentioned before, a hysteria or anything like that.
Well, yes, I've used the word victim because it seems obvious to me that these people were attacked, you see. They woke up in a different location to where they passed out. They'd been propped up against walls, shop fronts. Somebody had obviously moved them, and the first victim, the man, he had a bite mark on his neck, you see. Like somebody had bitten him and taken the blood almost, like a vampire or something, she says. And, well, look, I'll be straight with you. Fuck late stage capitalism, okay? These people are already victims of exploitation. They're selling their blood so that they can get through Easter, right? And I was going to do a human interest story on that. So I was asking people around about how they were donating blood, what their Easter plans were, things like that. I was going to do the full, fuck capitalism, destroy the system story for my blog. And then someone, by chance, mentioned this strange thing they'd been through, and then someone else did, and then someone after that, and I thought, well, something is going on here, and it's not just that these people are being exploited, if you get what I mean.
Yes, I understand. That makes sense to me, that clearly something is happening. Have you gone to any authorities about this, or are you doing this investigation, largely by yourself?
She raises an eyebrow. Have you gone to any authorities?
No, ACAB and all that.
Yeah, there you have it. Look, I wouldn't trust the police to do their jobs if this was something, quote unquote, serious. But I mean, none of the people I spoke to were exactly keen to go to the police and tell them, hey, somebody bit me and took my blood. I mean, most of them had no evidence they were attacked at all. The police would probably just wave them off and say they passed out or something.
Of course. And of course, the police are not, has anyone spoken to, a doctor or anything about any potential, neurological reasoning that this could happen?
Yeah, one of the victims did go to a doctor afterwards, and the doctor ran a few tests, and... She stops for a moment. I know you're probably bursting with curiosity, but, I like to consider myself ethical, and, I was about to run my mouth. Maybe I shouldn't exactly be divulging that information, but just know that someone did go to a doctor and, well, it was found that they were suffering from the effects of blood loss, and I mean a lot more than you would if you'd just given a vial for the donation.
Yes, well, thank you. I suppose if there are any more questions that you have, I'd be happy to answer them for your, blog.
No, I think, She frowns for a moment. There's absolutely no way you could remember where you were attacked?
Quick question.
Yep.
Would the length of this conversation fit within a single forget, like cloud memory?
Yeah, it would. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Are you saying Mitch is doing a bad job?
No, I'm saying that Marion is a type A, and she's going to come in a moment.
Yeah,
but take your time.
The location thing is very strange that you mentioned that they were all found in the same place. I was found they woke up all in the same place. It must have been 4 or 5 blocks away from the area you said they woke up in. I wonder what that's about.
I don't know if you're local, but do you know Delta Street? She says.
Yes.
Because, now, remember, I'm going on what I've been told, and everyone's woozy, a bit confused. But if I'm right, then the attacks all took place in and around the vicinity of Delta Street, okay? So, I'm planning on paying a visit to Delta Street, maybe tomorrow night or the night after. I've got a few more people I want to speak to, and I'm hoping I'll uncover something that'll blow this wide open. I've got a friend at the Advertiser, and he said if I can get this thing all wrapped up for him, evidence and everything, he'll put some kind words in with the editor, and we can actually get this thing in the papers and raise some attention.
Yes, you must be talking about Jace, who, recommended me to you.
Yes, that's right. Yes, Jace did recommend you. Jace said, if I can get this all tied up for him, get some concrete evidence, then, he'll drop my name with, the editor there, Jeanette, I think her name is, and they'll get this printed. Raise some awareness, and maybe the police will actually do their job and catch whoever this creep is.
At this point, Marion strolls over nonchalantly, and she pretends to be surprised to see Mitch where he is and says, Mitchell? Mitchell Kilpatrick?
Oh, says Jessica. Mitchell, you know this woman?
This is Marion. Oh. Yeah, we knew each other in college.
Mitch, hi! Oh my gosh!
Jessica holds out her hand and she's Jessica Harper, citizen journalist. Pleased to meet you. I'm just interviewing Mitchell here about something that he experienced when he was donating blood. I don't suppose you have donated blood for Easter by any chance?
Before Marion takes her hand and responds, she says, "Oh, that's quite concerning. Mitchell, has this been productive for you?" Pointedly.
Yes, I think I've worked through a lot of trauma related to this incident and have some leads I can follow with my therapist to get past this.
Wonderful! And she turns to was it Jessica?
Yes.
She turns to her and takes her hand and she looks her in the eye and says, "Pleasure to meet you." And she doesn't let go.
Jessica tries to extract her hand. She looks up into your eyes and she says, "Yes, Miss Marion, I'm sorry. Do you
And as she meets Marion's eye level, Marion says, "Now, sweetheart, I'd like you to do me a favor. I would like you to take everything related to this case on your computer and wherever else you have it, and I'd like you to destroy it, please."
So you are going to mesmerize her?
I am. And furthermore, sweetheart, I would just love it if you could do me a favor, and if anyone asks you about this, tell them that everyone you've talked to is full of shit. Can you do that for me, sweetheart?
I will allow you, if you like. I believe Marion has the forgetful mind.
No, she has, let me see, she has Cloud Memory, Mesmerize, and Submerge Directive, hence the letter.
Yeah. So you're going to give her a Submerge Directive, and you're going to mesmerize her, so that will be 2 rouse checks, please.
I believe Submerge Directive is no additional cost. Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, no additional cost. Go ahead.
Do you want me to roll Manipulation Dominate?
No, she's not at all prepared for this.
Lovely. She does not get hungrier.
Yeah. Jessica's eyes glaze over, and then you finally release her hand, and it just falls limply down by her side. Oh, I'm sorry. I booked this table until 10:30.
Oh, don't you worry, sweetheart. Just forget about all that.
Mitch class goes, "I need to return some videotapes," and then just gets up and starts walking away.
Mitch stands up and Jessica just watches him go, her eyes glaze over, and Marion lingers just long enough to see her pop the laptop open, drag the folder on the desktop labelled Bloodsuckers into the recycle bin, and delete it. She shakes her head. She peers over at Marion. "I think I was supposed to meet someone here?" Never mind, she says. She stands up, slamming the laptop shut, and carrying it under her arm, begins to make her way across the cafe and out into the night.
Val catches up to Mitchell and Marion and fishes around in her bag for a moment, picks out the mint, puts it back, and finds one of the blood bags and hands it to Mitchell and says, "You've been extra good tonight. This is for you."
Mitch kind of
Yes, well done, sweetheart.
I'm not a dog. Thank you. And then he sips the blood bag.
Yeah. Waits till you're outside of the Empire building, of course, and then, shrouded under the shadow cast by the tall building, he tears open the blood bag and sucks it dry. And Mitch, the only time you've drank blood not from the vein is when it's your sire's blood, and this does not compare It has a slight rusty, earthy taste, but you may as well be drinking water. And your beast retches in disgust. At least when it's hawthorns. It's potent.
Hold on a minute. Is there something weird with this blood? Mitch takes another sip, but it's distinctly looking for something that makes it taste really abnormal, outside of it just being bagged.
It doesn't appear that there's anything wrong with it. It's just whatever process Christine uses to make it so that it retains its nutritional value while bagged makes it taste absolutely strange.
Mitch just sticks his tongue out and kind of tries to politely put it in his bag.
But you may reduce your hunger by 1, Mitch. Goes back down to 2, I believe.
1.
1, yep. You drop the empty bag into your pocket, licking the last dregs of blood. Growls your beast. But the meeting was productive, it seems. You have a location. Delta Street. Delta Street appears to be the epicenter of all the attacks. And whoever's conducting them is waiting there. Is there anything else you guys would like to do at the Empire?
First, I would like to congratulate Elias on the leads with my therapist line. That was great.
Yeah, I laughed so hard.
Thank you. I do my best.
And the returning some videotapes.
Try the veal. Yeah, it was a good scene.
As you step out from the little alleyway beside the Empire building, you inwardly groan as you hear that familiar sound of barking dogs in the distance. And see Tig's ute scream around a corner, navigating through the traffic between 2 high-rise buildings and come to a dead stop on the curb in front of you.
Goodness.
Val leans into the window to talk to Tig and Bouncer. Looks like you missed the fireworks.
Think things get troublesome?
Oh no, everything is handled quite well.
Alright.
How did the pursuers go? Clearly it's still in one piece.
Pulled into an old Tolly's and they went by. Bouncer got a good look at him though.
I'd scram if I saw an Otolli's too.
Yes, they were definitely dressed like tailgaters, or like they were up to no good.
What does a tailgater dress like?
Maybe a tailgater. Maybe getting my words confused. But dark hoodies, there were balaclavas on the bottom half of their faces.
That's just
gang
some Greek
stalker.
food then.
That sounds troubling, actually.
Oh, damn it, Mitch, you neurotic fuck.
So, Val and Mitch tell Tig that Jessica's been taken care of, that thanks to Marion, she won't be pursuing this story anymore. And furthermore, she seems to have triangulated all of the attacks to have taken place in the vicinity of Delta Street, down in the southern suburbs, a couple blocks away from the blood bank.
That's good. That's our next... Wait a minute. A thought occurs to me. We run into hunters before, and this kind of thing is something that will get hunters sniffing after it. And hunters are just dipshits enough to running around in hoodies and balaclavas and go, oh, we don't look suspicious. Bouncer, could you... Here's me phone. Could you dial the number that says Lucky on it?
Bouncer takes the phone.
Yeah.
You know, it always acts up with me.
Goes through the contacts until you find someone called Lucky. When you dial it, you hand it back to Tig.
Thank
Tig, you raise the phone to your ear just as you hear a click, and then Lucky's leathery voice on the other end. Tig! What's going on, brother?
Might have some hunters nosing about. You know that blood bank it's over in, what's that part of the sea?
Oh, Thompson?
Yeah. Is anyone sniffing around there right now?
Yeah, got a couple young ones are in the bar earlier tonight. Reckon some bloodsuckers been attacking people as they come out of the blood bank. They're camping around the area, seeing if they eyeball any bloodsuckers. Follow them around for a bit. Try to attack them when they think they got the opportunity. You know, the usual.
Alright, probably jumping over a lot of random people. Listen, I
Suppose
troublemaker.
that's you, is it?
They ain't tried yet, but I ain't exactly subtle, and there's a chance they might reacquire. They ain't got any family or any fuss, or if we mess them up, it ain't gonna ruin their lives, is it?
Look, they're hunters. They go into this, half of them expecting not to get back out. Don't think about their families, Tig, but if you want, I can put the word out to maybe leave this well alone. Some of the smarter ones might actually listen to what I say and get the fuck out of Dodge.
Oh yeah, you won't be lying when you say it's dangerous. Sit back and see if it resolves itself is my advice. Might not be a problem past tonight.
Alright, now look, there's always a few of them, dumb kids, people who've got a death wish or got something to prove that, well, they don't want to get a lipful from an old-timer like me. So I'll put the word out, but you still be on your guard, because I would be expecting someone to jump you. But hopefully, if my name still carries the weight it does, you won't have to deal with as many of them as you would have had to otherwise.
Thanks, Lucky, you're a peach.
You got it. She hangs up, and I would like you to roll Lucky's retainer rating for me.
Alright, I believe she was, what was she?
She's a 3-dot retainer, I believe.
F yeah, alright. Yeah. Hang on. 2 successes.
Two successes. 2 successes. 4 less hunters to deal with.
Alright, now we can go to Delta Street. Be on your guard.
Tig, I'm so glad we have you around.
Oh, well, thank you too.
So,
I do appreciate that. It's
Marion,
good to have co-workers who will appreciate you, is what I say.
Marion, this is news to you. Apparently Tig was just on the phone with a hunter.
It is entirely news to her, or she might have had an inkling about that beforehand. I'm wondering how much surveillance she did do.
This was probably before her time. Though
Yeah,
if she followed up on Cross, it might have come up. I don't know.
Yeah, she probably knows that they spoke to Lucky at some point when they were investigating the Elvis murder, but it's complete news to Marion that Tig's apparently on good enough terms with this Lucky woman that he can just call her up and get her to try to scare some of the hunters off.
Can I ask about the situation there?
Situation? Well, Bouncer got a better look at them. They followed us to the atoll, is what I said.
No. With your confidant, Lucky, I believe. Her name was.
Oh. How do I put this in fancy doesn't work a lot in her life corporate speak? No offense.
Much
She's
taken.
She's a valuable asset. What collaborates to the success of the overall venture.
Take, I am still a human being. I promise you.
Who
How
gets
did you
paid
meet?
in... we met over the Elvis thing.
Oh, okay.
We solved the Elvis thing and we helped her out. And, alright, look, she's my ghoul, okay?
Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. A lot of surprises.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But we weren't all born with a silver spoon in our mouths.
I think you find I wasn't either. She was. She absolutely was. But she thinks she's a self-made woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about par for the course.
We covered last session that she got most of her startup capital from her dad, but, you know, it's just a small loan of $1 million.
Small loan of $1 million.
Yeah, small loan.
Yeah,
The comments are going to be
you had to pay back.
Yeah, I've had to pay it back. It's look, I've had to work.
I know.
So-
no, it's just I wasn't saying you didn't. It's just you and I come from different worlds, all right?
So with Tig's talk of hunters on your mind, as you tell Tig to keep an eye out and head back into the underground car park, and you see Marion reach out, press the button on the keyring, and click, open the doors on the Mercedes. I would like both Mitch and Val go ahead and make a resolve or specs roll for me as you feel the beginnings of a premonition digging the very back of your skull.
Oh,
Four
that's only
successes.
one. So 1 for me, 4 for Mitch.
Yes.
So, we'll go with Mitch's first. Mitch, you're making your way towards Marion's Mercedes when the car dissolves in front of you, seemingly detaching atom by atom, and then those atoms break up into their constituent parts. You look around and you see reality around you beginning to shake and wobble and waver. And another timeline ebbs and flows in front of you, a possible future. You reach out and grab hold of it, the long red thread of space-time, and as you pull on it, the parking garage around you collapses. The premonition takes over. You're seeing through the eyes of someone else, peering down at a kitchen table where a map of the suburb of Thompson is laid out, a red circle around Delta Street. 3 buildings are marked, each with an X. Alright. We're down on men thanks to that old witch. But you know what they say? Seems like she's too good for us these days. Seems like she thinks bloodsuckers are friends. So fuck her, I say. We go ahead and we wipe them out. Never mind staking them and bringing them to her. We just wipe them the fuck out, leave the bitch out of this. We're down 4 guys, but fuck, we don't need them. I want you on this roof, you on this roof, and then me and Johnson will rush in when they arrive. We eyeball them, we go in, push them into the alleyway, and then you light them up from the roof, okay? Yes, boss! Comes the cry in unison from 3 men, all standing around the table, all of them wearing balaclavas and long leather cloaks. Good, you say. You reach into your cloak, detach a wooden stake that's hanging from a holster in there and toss it aside. Won't be needing this, you say. As you reach for a munitions crate to your right, popping the lid open, you reach for a flare gun and slide the phosphorus cartridge into the barrel. You feel your lips twist into a smile. Meanwhile, as Val's about to slide into the backseat of the Mercedes, she feels her whole body shake. Ugh. As a feeling of nausea overwhelms her. Marion, you look over your shoulder just in time to see Val fall face first into the backseat of the car. You're about to open your mouth to say something, perhaps mocking to her, but her eyes stare blankly at you, not perceiving the here and now. Val. You're standing in a featureless concrete room. No windows, no light. The floor covered in dust and muck. A lone staircase of rusted metal behind you, the only means of escape. And at your feet, humanoid shape. A crumpled, broken, tiny corpse. You kneel down over it, reaching your fingers out, grabbing its lips and prying its mouth open. And then you reach into a long flowing coat and extract a hypodermic syringe filled with blood. Your gaze lingers for a second on the corpse at your feet. Its face obscured by shadow. Features unknown, hidden. If you could see its eyes, they would be glassy, bereft of emotion. You lower the hypodermic needle over the mouth and press your thumb down on the plunger, dropping a rivulet of crimson vitae into its open mouth. The eyes flutter open. It gasps for breath as it sits bolt upright.
Oh boy.
And that's where we'll end this week's session. The embrace, as witnessed through Val's eyes, is complete. And as Val comes to in the back of the Mercedes, shaking, trembling as Marion guides the vehicle through the streets of downtown G-Town, she shudders, perhaps understanding what you're about to get yourselves into. Next time, in part 2 of To Sup Upon the City.